Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have to talk about hammers, and I have quite a variety of them, but I use I think 3 on a daily basis. So let's talk about that. And when I talk about 3 of my favorite ones, which I use on a daily basis, we have a rawhide mallet, we have nylon head hammer, and we have chasing hammer. When it comes to hammers, it's more likely to get to know with the metal more, because when you're using a hammer, you're using it for forming, shaping, thinning, texturizing. You're like getting to know the metal more that you're working with. Because when you take that hard metal into your hands, it's just like you don't know anything about it. So, I was there and it's just like, why it's going to that side more, why it's going to like thin side more, and hammers is pretty good way to know how the metal is moving. When it comes to any kind of tool, it depends on what kind of gauge or what style of metal even you're working with, because I was working 2 years with a Cooper, so it's really hard metal to work with, and you have to like punch a lot to have a shape or something. It hardens really quickly. So it is a challenge to move it, like to form it or something. Then you would want to use more metal head hammers, because you can play around if it's like bigger gauge or something. Now I'm working more on the silver metal. So for me, nylon head is like the best and perfect option. It depends, of course, on the size. You can buy different kind of size. You saw this one on my videos, I think the most. I do everything with it. I know you're not supposed to do certain activities with this one, but if you can, why not? And when it comes to rawhide mallet, every jeweler say that you have to have one, and I bought mine just last year. I know it's a bit embarrassing, but even though I have it, I'm so used to work with a nylon one that it's like, it's like putting right size gloves on your hands. That's how it feels for me, because I'm used to it. If you're thinking that you will be working with hammer a lot, you have to think about your wrist too. That's why when you buy more expensive hammer, it's like a cure for your wrist too. We don't want injuries here. If you work a lot with hammers, check more expensive ones, because the handle and how it's like fitting in your hand, how it balances that weight for you, it's really important, because you never want to hold your hammer in your hand like this, because you're taking all of that strength from the hammer and you're using just your body. Hammer does the job for you if it's balanced out correctly, because you have to hold it on the end of the handle and move like with more relaxed hand and let that hammerhead do the job. When you're hammering and shaping and texturizing your pieces, for sure you will get marks. I'm pretty sure you can see those marks even in this one. I have to polish it. Yes, you have to polish your hammers and take care of them, because what you are putting on your metal will take that too. So keep that in mind. You have to polish all the metal heads and clean it, which is quite time consuming. Harder metal you will have on your hammerhead will save your time on polishing, because marks won't go that deep and that quickly. That's why you're paying sometimes $200 for one hammer. When I haven't had a frets hammer, I was using chasing hammer, just that cheap one, and it does the job too. But if I compare these ones, texture glides better all the time. So I never kind of use it anymore, because this one makes it way better. But it doesn't mean that you can make it with this. When it comes to tools, I always search logical explanation about them, why they are made certain way and why they are like in that size difference or something like that, because I'm self-taught. So I have to understand what is that. Even when you're feeling the hammerhead, You actually feel how soft it is, like even with fingers you're going in. So it won't mark my metal. And the more you beat this one, the better it becomes. Of course, if you're making bracelets and cuffs in various size, you want bigger hammer going on the piece because you want to cover all that cuff with a hammer. So maybe if your cuff going bigger, you want even bigger rawhide mallet, if that makes sense. I have these small ones too. It's from Frets. I really love the brand, but I haven't used them that much. I used a lot of that round one, like small one. I use that a lot for my hoops. I would use them if I want to texture my metal more, experiment more, but I don't prefer them because they're really lightweight. And I really love to have that good old hammer in my hands, which is, you know, more heavy. And when it comes to hammers, I have to show you these punches, which I showed you in my first video when I talked about jewelry tools, because it's like saving your money here. You can use all different kind of sizes and manipulate with these range of sizes here. You have a lot. You can do every task with it. You can texture your metal because we have really small round ones too. Even for forming metal, you can use it in your vise just to put it in and form metal around it, on top of it, however you want to do. After some time, I bought brass hammer, that really sturdy and heavy dude. We can see all the marks that is in this one. I use this for all the punches I need, for marking metal, for making that hallmark too. So this one is the best. We also have different sizes in the market. For me, it's enough to have this, but you want to have that heavy one because you don't have to use that much of your strength of the body, which is, you know, sometimes we just want to hit and punch in 1 or 2 punches. I'm using that when I want to form my metal. When it comes to cubes, you want to have that flat quite a bit because you want to cover all that punch. It will hit more even and you have a better piece. Maybe you want to try out your spinner rings or something, so you can use these ones because you will put round head into your piece and make that spinner ring going. So it's really good for experimenting, and when you want to get to know your metal, I suggest go with these. You know, I'm not saying that you don't have to have specific hammers, of course you do, but from the beginning point, the jewelry piece that you would want to do will be done with, I don't know, nylon hammer or like rawhide mallet, because you're experimenting. You don't need to like save too much of moves and actions or save your time, because that beginning stage is more like, I want to get to know that metal. So how are you supposed to do that? Of course, you have to play around. You have to punch more. You have to punch too much and like not punch enough to understand how that metal is actually moving. So you don't need like that fancy equipment to begin with when it comes to hammers. About pliers, you saw my video, so I had a bit different opinion, but hammers, I'm sticking with nylon one, and really this one making kind of all of my jewelry, I think. All right, I think we're done here, and I hope you like it, and I will see you in my next one.